The laughter was sharp, cruel, and it cut through the crowded schoolyard like glass. Everyone turned to see the source of the commotion, and there she was, Emily, the new girl, frozen in the middle of the playground as three older girls tugged at her dress until the fabric gave way with a loud tear. The sound of the rip seemed to echo louder than any bell. Her cheeks burned, not just from embarrassment, but from the injustice of it all. She had only been here 2 weeks, and already they had marked her as a target. But what they didn't know was that this was a mistake, one they would never forget. Emily had always been quiet, the kind of girl who sat in the back of the room and never raised her hand. Moving schools was hard enough, but the whispers and stares made it worse. She wasn't rich, she wasn't flashy, and her clothes, often hand-me-downs from her older cousins, made her stand out in a place where designer sneakers and perfect hair seemed to matter most. Those bullies, led by the queen bee, Vanessa, thought tearing her dress would be the end of her. Instead, it was the beginning. Tears welled up in Emily's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She clenched her fists, staring at the fabric hanging loosely from her shoulder. Every part of her wanted to run away, to hide, but then she remembered something her grandmother once told her: the world will try to make you small, but only you decide whether you stay that way. That night, instead of crying herself to sleep, Emily took out her notebook. She sketched, she wrote, she planned. She had always loved martial arts but had stopped training when the move uprooted her life. Now, she felt that old fire return. She begged her mom to let her rejoin a local dojo, promising to keep up with her studies. Her mom, seeing the determination in her daughter's eyes, agreed. The training was grueling. Her muscles ached, her knuckles bruised, and many nights she collapsed into bed too tired to even think. But every time she wanted to give up, she pictured Vanessa's smirk, the sound of the fabric ripping, and the laughter of the crowd. That humiliation became her fuel. Slowly, Emily began to transform, not just her body, but her spirit. Confidence replaced fear. Discipline replaced doubt. At school, the bullies tried again and again to get a rise out of her, but she no longer flinched. When they whispered insults, she walked past with her head high. When they tried to shove her books out of her arms, she calmly picked them up and carried on. The more they tried, the less power they seemed to have. Soon, people noticed. Other students, ones who had stayed silent during her torment, started gravitating toward her. She became a quiet force, someone who didn't need to lash out to be strong. But Vanessa wasn't done. She hated losing control. One Friday afternoon, she cornered Emily behind the gym with her friends. "Think you're tough now?" Vanessa sneered, blocking her way. The others laughed, echoing her cruelty. This time, though, Emily didn't shrink back. She looked Vanessa straight in the eye and said firmly, "I don't need to fight you to prove I'm strong. But if you lay a hand on me again, you'll regret it." Something in her tone, steady, unshaken, made Vanessa pause. For the first time, the bully felt small. Emily didn't lift a fist. She didn't throw a punch. She didn't need to. The strength in her voice, the fire in her eyes, said it all. Word spread quickly. Soon, the whole school knew what had happened. The girl who once stood trembling with her torn dress had become the one who stood unshaken in the face of her tormentor. Other students who had suffered in silence started speaking up, inspired by Emily's courage. Teachers noticed the change too, and conversations about bullying began happening in classrooms and assemblies. Emily's journey wasn't just about fighting back, it was about rising above. The bullies had tried to tear her down, but instead, they built the foundation of her strength. She discovered that real power doesn't come from hurting others but from refusing to be broken, from standing tall even when the world tries to push you down. By the end of the school year, Emily wasn't the new girl anymore. She was the girl who fought back without fists, the girl who refused to stay small, the girl who inspired others to believe in their own strength. And though she never forgot that moment when her dress tore in front of everyone, she no longer felt pain when she thought about it. Instead, she felt gratitude. Because that was the day she stopped hiding and started fighting for herself. Her story carried one powerful message: being unstoppable doesn't mean you never fall. It means when they tear at your dress, your pride, your spirit, you rise stronger than before.